you can let go of those dreams, I guess. Everybody's different. We don't want to be divided. We want to be different, and that's okay. If you think
Oh,
about it, so many people have learned how to ride a bike on their own, right? Everybody's learned. And there's a lot of coaches out there, like Alma was saying, who can teach you how to ride a bike on your own or get that momentum on your own. But how many people have actually ever ridden a tandem bike or been taught how, right?
You guys married each other for a reason, right? And we want to leverage those similarities and find the same goals so that you don't feel like you're on separate bikes anymore.
hi there. I'm Aly Porter, your Freedom Connector, and I'm also the creator of Millionaire Momentum Life, where abundance and impact align. This is the place for influencers, connectors, and creators who want to multiply their income streams, amplify their brand, and design a life where you work less and earn more, even while you sleep. Inside this ecosystem, you'll find the collaborations, resources, and visibility opportunities that help you to get seen, paid, and positioned for bigger impact and bigger income. If you are ready to build real momentum and step into your expansion, hit subscribe and let's get started. Welcome to another episode of the Millionaire Momentum Show. I am your host, Aly Porter, aka your Freedom Connector. And today we have two guests with us today, and I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this episode. So I'm really excited to introduce Alma and Lorraine Thurber, and they are the owners and creators of the Momentum Cycle. And I love the word momentum, so it's perfect. Alma and Lorraine help entrepreneurs to align their goals with their spouses so that they can turn tension into teamwork. Together, they are the proud parents of 3 fun kids. Alma enjoys writing and Lorraine enjoys pottery and yoga. They believe that God designed families to grow together. When couples set a shared goal they are both excited about, they can harmonize their unique strengths and differences to create the life of their dream. Now, I don't know about you, but I am super excited to have this conversation today because this hits a personal note for me because, when I'm an entrepreneur and my husband is not an entrepreneur, that's okay that we're different and that we want different things, right? But that we can work together for the common good of our families and for our goals and visions. And so I want to hear from you guys a little bit more about you so people in the audience can know more about your business and what you're doing, but also kind of your backstory. How did this all come to be? I would love to hear that.
Yeah, love it. So excited to be here, Aly. I'm really, really excited. I love what you're doing and I love the word momentum. And it's so fun to finally be on this podcast with you. Do you want to start or do you want me to?
No, you go for it.
Okay, so my story started as an entrepreneur. I graduated college. I was going to go pursue a career in technology. Very, very excited about that. And a mentor of mine encouraged me to start writing on a platform of my choice. And so I'm like, okay, well, I have no connections on LinkedIn. I'll just start writing on LinkedIn. No one's going to read it anyway. And so that was my strategy. So I started documenting the things I was learning in my life and just through my technology career. And that was really fun. I started growing and developing, and I really fell in love with the process of just writing, documenting the things I was learning, and hopefully it would help other people, right? We continued to grow as our family. Lorraine was a stay-at-home mom. She had a floral business for a time, but then our family started having more and more kids, and she'll tell that part of the story in a minute. But after the birth of our second child, life was just busy, so I stopped writing. And that was the first time that I had people reach out to me and be like, hey, I missed the things you were writing. Where'd all your thoughts go? I would look forward to that. And I was like, oh, there might actually be something here. So I started experimenting with coaching with different people. I'm like, okay, how can I actually take these words and actually help people change their life? So I started doing a lot of one-on-one coaching, and I kind of became as a side business, started coaching people one-on-one, just as a life coach, individually. And then I started a group coaching program, which was so much fun. And we started, just reading lots of different content from Benjamin Hardy and these different people that I absolutely love. And they influenced our life a lot. And both of us were doing it together, which was great. But over time, there was this recurring theme with the people I was helping. They started to say things like, oh, my wife just doesn't understand what I'm doing, or my husband just isn't entrepreneurial, so he just doesn't get this, or I can't go all in like I want to because I have these other family obligations. And right now I'm just trying to support my spouse and what they're doing. And so there's this big kind of elephant in the room, and I didn't know how to address it at all. I just knew that I wanted to keep helping people and that I cared about family. Family is very important to me in my life. And then one day, as I was going through coaching different people, Lorraine approached me and she's like, hey, Alma, I feel like I am not a priority. I'm coming second to your goals, which was a big red flag for me. I'm like, oh no, this is not what I wanted. I loved my technology career and I was loving this passion of writing and coaching people. And I thought we were on the same page, but clearly we weren't. And I knew that we needed to make a change. And we had talked about helping couples because I had told Lorraine up to that point that a lot of the people I was trying to help were having this similar issue. But it wasn't until she came to me, he's like, hey, this isn't just an other people problem. This is an us problem. Like, I also feel like this is not working for us. And we decided, okay, we need to make a change. Like, we can't just help individuals and then hope that the marriage will catch up at some point. We need to start with the marriage first and teach people how, hey, you may have different goals. You may care about entrepreneurship. You may care about different hobbies, but God designed families to grow together and we need to figure this out. And so we spent several months refining and just redesigning our process for helping people, where you start with the marriage first and make sure you're aligned there and then continue to grow from that point. But I'll let you share your story. So.
That's great. You shared a lot of my portion too. So I'm a stay-at-home mom for the most part. I don't know if I like the word stay-at-home because I hate to stay at home for too long, but I am a full-time mom, we'll call it that. And I homeschool our kids right now and running the business with Alma. But this started pretty early. I've always wanted to be a florist and I wanted to make that dream happen. And so after I served a mission in Mexico and I decided, okay, I'm going to start doing this. And so I started an at-home floral design business and it started growing super fast and it became too busy for the sense of like also being, I couldn't be a full-time mom and also have this business. It started to be that my kids were the distraction to my business. And I felt like that was wrong, that the business, we should reverse that. And the business should actually be the distraction for my kids, or that I should see it that way. And so with a lot of prayer and a lot of frustration, I gave up that business and my life obviously just changed. It was just amazing. I just learned a lot. And while I missed that, I was identifying as a florist. And so when I let that go, I felt like I had lost myself. So the reason I bring this up is just because there's these moments where we have these big dreams and I was so excited about this big dream and I did it and we could be so proud of ourselves. But there's a time for dreams. You can let go of those dreams, I guess. I was a floral design. I did floral design for a little while and then I let go of that to be a full-time mom. And I loved that. And was awesome, but the entrepreneur in me just like came back. And so Alma started coaching and I was supporting him in that. And like Alma said, there was a lot of people that he was working with that started to use a lot of ultimatums like, oh, I'll never be on the same page with my spouse, or we're never going to have the same goals. Like, and so I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, you chose this person.
Yeah.
The person you chose to be with. And for some reason, well, when you're newlyweds, you have these big dreams and these big goals and you have this plan to do it together. And then somewhere along the way, it stops being a together thing and it starts being like, here's your goals and here's mine. And your goals can often like draw you away from family and so, or from each other. And obviously I chose Alma and I wanted to be with him and I wanted to do things with him. And so to go in on a business together that we were both passionate about was huge. We started realizing that there was a lot of need for people. And like Alma said, we were not perfect at this and there was some imposter syndrome going on, but we had put some frameworks in place in our life that have really changed our life and built our relationship. And building this business together was a lot different than building my floral design business. This business was not Alma supporting me, but this is something that we're doing together. It's been gone from a passion project to being a passionate business. And we're super excited about the people that we've been able to help. And of course, the more people that we help, obviously, the more the passion gets stronger and the more excited we are to help people. So
Yeah. And I think that both of you bring so much to the table just by fact that the husband, the other's the wife, one's a male perspective, one's a female perspective. But then also like you have, even though you're working the business together, you are still different people and you still have different, likes and abilities and stuff like that. And so it's really refreshing for someone that's going to work with you to see that, to be able to see it in action, and to see like, oh, wow, we really can come together, whether it's in a business or whether it's just coming together as a couple, we can make our dreams come true. So in my case, like my husband will never do entrepreneurship. He is not that. He is in academia through and through. He's a professor and all of that. But it's really fascinating to watch how as we support each other in what each other's goals, we still have a common goal. And that is to teach our kids to, help them to grow up, have good morals and values. And we still enjoy going to movies and reading books together and like all these other things that we can do together. But seeing it in action, I think is the biggest thing, because the world is so divided, and I know you feel that, but especially in the family. And so I love the fact that you have made this not just your passion project, but now a business to be able to help the family really be able to become stronger because the parents and the spouse are stronger together. So talk to me a little bit more about how you do that inside of your business. I would love to hear what that looks like for someone if they were going to come work with you. Like, what would that look like?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I'm gonna pause because I have to cough. Okay, what happened?
That opportunity to meet really quickly. Something that's super important to me is recognizing values and saying, one of the first things we do with people is have them take a values assessment to see what their values are. Because knowing what their values are helps you understand how they make decisions and why they make decisions, and helps you when you're setting a goal to use your strengths. So that's like one of the first things that we do because, like you said, right, everybody's different. We don't want to be divided. We want to be different, and that's okay because you can play off of your differences and off of your own strengths, right? And anyway, yeah, I just think that's super important. So that's one of the first things that we do with people.
Yeah, and I loved what you were saying a moment ago, Allie. Like you and your husband are very different people, and many of the people we work with are not entrepreneurs. One person is very entrepreneurial, and the other one is not. Like we were coaching a couple just 2 weeks ago, actually, where he was very, very interested in building this AI business, and she hated AI. But what they both aligned with is they wanted to build something that would help their kids, right? They both loved their kids. They had very young kids. I think they had two at the time, which is just 2 weeks ago. I don't know. So they had just two kids, both very, very young, and they wanted to build something that would help their kids go forward. And so we were able to change the dialogue where it's like, hey, he has this passion about AI, and she was frankly a little bit scared of AI and all the implications there, which it can be a scary thing if you're not educated, right? And they were both like seemingly different, right? Like, hey, why can't you just stay at your, she was just saying things like, hey, just stay at your 9 to 5 job. We don't need to build something on the side. I just want you home with the kids because that's what's important to me. But he had this other passion that he wanted to build out to help the world and his kids. And we were able to change the dialogue. Okay, like the shared goal between the two of you is not this AI business. It's building something that is going to empower your kids to be safe in a world of AI. And he has the tools and the passion to do that. And that changed the dialogue completely. And so they now have different roles where now he has this passion where he can build a business that is going to support his family and all these other families. And she can continue to partner with him to try and keep her kids safe from AI and learn how to do it in the same way, in a healthier way, by using his tools. And so now this dialogue completely changed. They're no longer seeing each other as opposites or like fighting against one another, but he can now lean into his passion. She can lean into hers, and they can lean into what they share with. They both love their kids and they want to have a better future for their kids. And they now have a shared goal for the first time in their life. So these are the types of conversations that we have with people. And it's really just going through the process Lorraine talked about. Okay, let's talk about your core values. Let's find the overlap. And then let's talk about your individual dreams, like what you want to accomplish. And let's focus on what is shared and make that the primary, and then identify your unique goals in getting there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It totally makes sense. And I love how clear it is. Like I can see in my mind, like the process of like what that would look like. I know this isn't just like a one-time thing, right? Like how long is it? Like how does the program work?
Yeah. So first step we do with people just to see if they want to continue working with us is we'll do just a free 45-minute dream building session where we'll take a look at their core values. We'll do that whole exercise in a compressed timeline just so that they can understand like this is the potential, a shared goal, and what it will change. And then if they choose to keep that momentum going with us, we have a 4-week program. Well, they'll do coaching usually with me. Lorraine does do it sometimes. It just kind of depends on what they prefer. But coaching is kind of my happy place. And that's kind of how we've identified our roles. Like I really love coaching people one-on-one. Lorraine loves meeting people, and she has other specific responsibilities that she leans into for her strengths in our business. I do most of the coaching there. And so we just have a 4-week program where we take them through, hey, let's clearly define a 3 to 5 year goal that's exciting for both of you and that's simple and that is going to lean into your unique strengths. It could be a shared goal that is exciting to you for different reasons, but we need to have a shared goal, right? And so we take them through that for the 4 weeks. And then working together is a very unique concept. There are hundreds and thousands of books out there that tell you how to individually learn about yourself and to pursue your own goals. But there are very, very few frameworks out there. I have yet to find one actually, other than ours, that will teach you how to do that in tandem with your spouse.
Mhm.
So there are unique challenges that come up when you're trying to not only have a romantic relationship with the person you love, but then also have a successful professional career, whatever that looks like for the two of you. And then co-parenting as well. Like, how do you manage those three things? There's unique challenges that come up. So we set a 3 to 5 year goal with them that they're both excited about. And then we give them the tools and the systems in place over those 4 weeks and help them establish some habits so that they're set and ready to go. Sweet.
Mm. I love that. Oh my gosh, just gets me so excited. I love the fact that the way, like you were talking about how it really comes down to like it doesn't have to be this big elephant in the room. It doesn't have to be this scary thing that is like, oh my gosh, this is going to drive a wedge and now we're never going to see eye to eye. And because it does do that, especially when you don't have the framework, you don't have the ability to see past, this certain thing. Like, I want to do this. The spouse comes in and says, well, I don't agree with it, or I don't think you should do it, or whatever. It just causes contention, but it's not just in that, it's in everything, because you still have to live with the person. You still love them. You still have to co-parent. Like you were saying, like there's so many things that are involved in it that it's hard to take this kind of tangled mess of like where everything is and untangle it. And so that's what you guys are able to do, is help people to realize. Before we started recording, we were talking about the bike analogy. And I love this because it really is about that working in tandem, right? That tandem bike. And when you have your own thing and you're doing your bicycle riding and it's just you, there's momentum there. There's things that happen. But when you can have your spouse on board, whether they're in a business with you or whether it's just they're supporting you, you're working together in tandem. And that momentum is doubled, tripled, quadrupled because you're on the same page, because you can see. And I love the example that you used of the young man who had the AI business, which is so cool anyways, because we love AI.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a later question. But he loves AI and she was not sure about it, didn't like it or whatever. But it didn't mean that she had to come over to his side and say, oh my gosh, I love AI now. It's the best thing since sliced bread. She could still utilize it or feel a certain way around it that worked for her. But the point was is that they now could have a dialogue where they could actually talk through this and really work on their relationship in terms of this, so that he felt supported, she felt seen and heard as well. And their common goal that they had, working toward having their kids be safe in this crazy world that we live in, was reached. And that is what you guys do. And so I absolutely love how simple it is, but how complex it is at the same time. And like you were saying before too, no amount of doing things like by yourself will help you to work through that together. And so that's why I love what you guys offer, that 4-week program, because they're able to come together and figure it out together.
If you think
Oh.
about it, so many people have learned how to ride a bike on their own, right? Everybody's learned. And there's a lot of coaches out there, like Alma was saying, who can teach you how to ride a bike on your own or get that momentum on your own. But how many people have actually ever ridden a tandem bike or been taught how, right? And so our goal there is to fill that space for those people everyone, right? Everyone who's married who doesn't have the training, because it's not there. Nobody
Yeah.
taught you how to do this. Nobody's taught people how to do this. And obviously there's been a lot of trial and error in our lives to figure out how to do this and how to do it right. And something that's so important to Alma and I is simplifying. Like, it feels like this big, huge cloud of like, or elephant as we called it, right? Like, it feels like it's this huge thing, but really, like, it might be that you guys have a very similar plan for the future. You just haven't talked about it. And maybe your ideas are different, but you just need to simplify them. Okay, you like this and you like this, and great. Let's make those work together. How can we make that work together? And so having this simplification too has given us more opportunity to do things that we're passionate about. Like, I have been doing pottery for a year and a half. You can kind of see I'm like covered. I have like this thing because we've figured out how to talk about these things. I get to do things as a mom that most people around me don't think they have time for. Like, I get to go and do pottery. Anytime I talk to my mom friends from church or from the neighborhood, it's like, oh, I just would never have time for that. I just don't have time for that. Like, which you made that. Like, you can. It's what's important to you. And if you have the right systems in place, you can make it happen. And my life is so exciting now. And not that it wasn't before, but we just have so much momentum now, right? The two of us together, because we are aligned on our goals, we can do so many things that we want to do that before we just didn't have time for, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, I think it's important to note too, like pottery is not my passion. Like Lorraine and I are
I
still
think so.
very different people. I think it's fun. I could get good at it, and I love seeing like what you do with pottery, but that's not something that I share, and that's totally fine. And this process is not to try and convince your spouse to also be an entrepreneur or convince them to have the same hobbies or to even see the world in the same way. You guys married each other for a reason, right? And we want to leverage those similarities and find the same goals so that you don't feel like you're on separate bikes anymore. You can feel like you're building momentum towards the same goal, and you don't feel like one person is pumping the brakes while the other person's pedaling. Like we want to make sure that you guys are headed in the same direction. You're both feeling good about it. And candidly, you're excited about it. And like the process is simple, like Lorraine talked about. I believe, and I can't like come onto a podcast without mentioning my faith. Like I know for a fact that this is something that Lorraine and I have been called to do, and it's something that we struggled with primarily. I wrote the very first version of our program like a year and a half ago or something like that. And because it wasn't our primary at first, because we hadn't had that experience yet, it just kind of sat there. And then when we knew it needed to become primary, we took it to our Heavenly Father, took it to God, and He made it better. And then I gave it to Lorraine, and she made it way better. And then we kind of passed it back and forth. And then we started implementing it ourselves, and it just works. And yesterday I had a call with somebody where we had that first initial meeting, and they were just awestruck. They're like, I cannot believe how simple that was. You just asked us what we loved, asked us our core values, and they asked us what our goals were. And then the process and the questions, they just brought exactly to the surface the goal that they had been looking for years. And that's not something that I can take credit for. Even us as a couple, I don't think we can take credit for. That has been something that's been given to us. And having that outside person trying to just guide you through that process is priceless. It's changing your person. So it fires me.
And thank you for bringing God into it because I am very much a faith-based person as well. And a lot of people on my podcast are. I do believe that for me personally, I mean, that's why I love what I do with this podcast because I get to hear about all the ways that God is moving and shaking in people's lives. And it's so awesome. It just lights me up every time. And so I'm so grateful that He instilled that upon you guys to help couples be able to work in tandem instead of separately. And I'm excited to see where it goes. So where would you say you see your business in the next 3 to 5 years?
Ooh, you want to hear
all the time.
our big goal?
Our three for the new goal.
Which you're going to condense down into like 90 days, right?
Oh, no, I'm just going to fit down to our 3 to 5. So,
Oh, that's great. Awesome. Yeah. Tell me all about it.
Is the impossible goals framework.
Oh,
And then,
we love them.
so this gets me really excited. I love talking about big goals. So the goal, as we've talked about, and as you've probably noticed, Alma's really good at the like communication over the screen, right? The coaching and the things like that. That's not my cup of tea. I love being here and chatting with you, but in person is my passion. I just like in-person networking. It's just so much fun. And I love to host people. So the big goal is that we actually own retreat space, an A-frame cabin retreat. That's the goal up in the mountains where we can help couples have an incredible experience where they are learning together. We're taking these frameworks that we're teaching, but they're learning together. They're having pottery lessons where they're learning to do, the movie Ghost, where they're like, pulling anyway, on the wheel. I'm seeing that vision, but so they're doing pottery classes together. They're doing yoga classes together. Those are two of my passions that I love. And they're learning together. And that's the passion I love to host people and to have a space that is couples retreat, but it's not just couples retreat where you're just relaxing. It's like a working couples retreat where you come, you feel safe, you feel edified, and you leave with passion and excitement for the future. Like that to me, that's the dream. That's just so
I'll be your first one. My husband and I will be your first one to come. So let's go.
Once we have that space, which is going to be soon.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Once we have that space,
we'll meet a call. I'm ready.
It's good.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
That's
I love
that. My big dream. Alma has definitely all in on that.
Yeah. I'm very, very excited about it, but for different reasons. Like we were just saying, like I'm the pottery and the yoga, but I actually would be excited to participate. But I love the idea of like group coaching and like taking
Mhm.
people through the frameworks in that space. And I love the idea of owning that space. So it's exciting for different reasons. But yeah, that's our goal. 3 to 5 years, we'll have that space. And even before then, with like not waiting to live our dreams, like we are doing in-person events. Actually, in the next week here, we're gonna have our first in-person event where we're just doing vision boarding as a group. And so like, no, it's not gonna be overnight like a retreat, but we are meeting together. We're gonna go up to the mountains, do vision boards and things like that, which is gonna be super fun. And so yeah, we're just gonna get closer and closer.
Oh,
Grow and being more of the right people who wanna grow together.
that is so awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We could talk for hours if we had more time, but all right. So we're going to just do quick 2 question rapid fire before we wrap up. So going back to AI, what is your take on AI? Do you love it? Do you hate it? How do you use it if you do use it at all?
We are mixed on this. How that sounds. So not kind of dramatic as maybe the story said earlier,
Yeah,
but
definitely
I
not.
definitely am hesitant to use it only because creativity is so important to me. And so if I am using it to come up with ideas, I want to come up with my own ideas. That being said, if I
Mhm.
give AI my ideas, then I'm fine if they help me organize my thoughts. So
Yeah.
that's what
And I actually
Yeah.
love that you touched on that really quick. Sorry to cut you off, Alma. I love
Mhm.
that you touched on that though, because I'm very much that way too. That was my worry was because I was like, I don't want to not be able to be creative. Like I want to be able because I'm very creative in different ways. Definitely not pottery, but other ways I'm very creative. And
Yeah.
so that was my biggest fear too. But like you said, if you put in your own ideas, it helps you to like think exponentially of than what you could have done on your own, I feel like. And so for me, I feel like it's been the biggest creativity tool that I have, but it is in the way you use it. So if you don't use it the correct way, I would say, then it definitely
Yeah.
shouldn't would be for sure. Yeah. I love that. Thank you
Yeah,
for
for
sharing that.
sure. I think of AI similar to like a calculator. When the calculator came out, math teachers were like freaking out. They're like, our kids are not going to be able to learn anymore. Like they're not going to know their times tables or like all these different things. And to be fair to them, I think I probably could say my times tables less quickly than my dad did or my grandpa did when he
Mhm.
was in school. Because yeah, I can do single and probably even double digits. But when you get to like triple digits, I probably could solve that problem less quickly than my grandpa did because of a
Mm.
calculator. So to your point, I do think that there is a real risk that people will not worry about solving those problems themselves because there is a tool that can do it faster. Now, I think the calculator was a great thing. And I think that it does allow us to solve better problems. Like there are types of math classes that are only possible to have to like consolidate into a single semester or whatever because the calculator facilitates that. And I don't have to do long division to try and understand like these complex
The more
concepts. I
complex
think
things.
the AI is very similar. It allows us
Mhm.
to solve better problems. That being said, it can be a crutch. Like if I'm using my calculator to do 2 plus 2, like that's a crutch. Like that's going to take more time than if I just thought about it, right? And I
Yeah.
do think that that is a very real risk for people to overuse AI, and I think it has to be
Mhm.
taught in the right
Yes.
way. I do think it is helpful for brainstorming and systemizing and all these different things, but it is also limited. So my personal use of I think it is great with asterisks, but I think it is most helpful specifically if you tell it specifically what data you want to use.
Mhm.
Because AI will occasionally lie to you and
Yeah.
it will just pull something out. But if I say like, hey, this is the exact data I want you to reference, make it the bullet points. Like it's very good at that sort of thing. So if I give it its boundaries and massage it in the right way, I think it's a super powerful tool and a really cool opportunity for all of us.
Yeah.
One
And I loved how
more
you put that in
oh,
there.
I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say one more thing I wanted to add. I'm the one other concern I have with AI is that it's not something that is helping people connect and be something that draws people away or draws people inward instead of like actually communicating. And I don't know, just like community is so important. And so, which
Yeah.
obviously part of my life and what's important to me, but having a sense of community too. And that's something that worries me a little bit is that we need to combat that with an extra amount of communication and community
Yeah.
and family and things like that.
Yes, and I think it really comes back to education, right? Like just educating
Yeah.
people the right way to use it, and it can be a good thing. Just like the internet. I mean, anything can be good or bad. It just depends on how you use it, right? But I love your insights and your thoughts on that because also, and I asked the question also, so I know what we can create that will negate that, And so it's kind of cool to not negate, but like being able to combat that or help to facilitate that in a better way. So that's cool. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for your honest opinions. I appreciate it. Okay, my last question is, what does millionaire momentum mean to you? And I know you love the word momentum, so you can just go off of that word if you want, but what does that mean to you? What does that look like for you?
For me, millionaire momentum, I believe that we're going to talk about the millionaire part too. But I believe that money is a resource, money is a tool, and I want to be able to serve as many people as I can. And I know that I can do that with good finances, right? With a good amount of money, the more people I can serve. That being said, the momentum's the most important part, and momentum can happen individually. I truly believe it can. And there's a lot of proof out there that works and that there's a lot of tools out there to help you gain momentum. If you want better momentum, do it with your spouse because two people pedaling is a lot better than one. So anyway, that's my take. Yeah.
I love
I
that.
love that. I think the idea of being a millionaire is similar to having momentum. And what I mean by that is I know that millionaires have become bankrupt and lost everything and then earned it back quickly, which is proof that a millionaire is much more of a mindset and a lifestyle than it is just you have money so you can continue to make more money, right? They see the world differently than people who are not millionaires. And I would argue that that's the same for people who are billionaires, right? They see the world differently. And momentum, what we teach in our program is momentum for physical objects is different than psychological. Because when you want to start momentum with a physical object, you have to push it and you have to create some sort of force and then it starts to build on itself. You have to break through that initial inertia. Now, psychologically, we have an advantage. Like we can learn to look at our past differently and what exists currently to say like, hey, all these actions in my life are working for my 3 to 5 year goal. And so therefore I already have momentum. Like I don't even have to push and you just need to learn how to see that. So in a similar way with like millionaires learning how to see the world differently, if you can learn to see your own momentum differently, like, hey, I already have momentum towards my goals and learn how to reframe those past events in your life and look towards your future, then you're already halfway there. And that's what we look for as well.
I also think that millionaires or just like people who have that mindset, they're so much more willing to be coached. They're like the humble people that I know. So if you're trying to have that mentality of a millionaire or of someone who is wealthy in many ways, right? Be humble and be willing to be coached because all the millionaires I know have coaches. Like all millionaires I know. And I know who have that mentality and that mindset because they have mentors, they have coaches, they have people doing the thing that they want to do that they're listening to. And I feel like that's like a huge part of the mentality of being a millionaire or being wealthy in whatever way.
That's beautiful. Wow. I loved that answer. Wow. That was so good. I don't even think I have that best of answer. That was like amazing. I loved how there were so many different perspectives around that because I completely agree. So where can people find more about your program, what you're doing? Where can they find you? Like social media, websites, what are all the things?
Yeah, I'm most active on LinkedIn that I mentioned at the beginning. That's where I got my start. So definitely connect with me there. I would love to connect with you, send you free resources as well. We'll link a link to like scheduling a free dream building session with us if you're interested.
And
So that
do
you can
it right now,
yeah,
like right now, not later,
we
right
can
now.
all love to meet you. If you've loved it enough to listen to this point in the podcast, like we would love to meet with you and you're our kind of people. So please schedule time with us. We do have a website, which will be linked there as well. And yeah, I think those are the primary.
I'm not much on social media. It's either a distraction or it's just off. It like no media. Yeah, I'm also on LinkedIn. Definitely not as active, but I need to. I love making connections. If you really want to make my day, let's go out to lunch. Let's go do
There you go.
networking. There you go.
Yeah.
Ah, I love it.
Spending time with you guys. We'd love to
love
meet
it.
you.
Well, this has been so fruitful. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. And if you want to learn more about Alma and Lorraine and all the amazing things that they're doing with couples and, that building that momentum as couples, definitely click all the links below, connect with them, take advantage of the generosity that they're giving you, and really see the power of how you can work together as a team versus separately. And with that, any other closing remarks or anything else you wanted to share before we end?
I don't think so. Thank you, Aly.
And
Fantastic.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. We've thoroughly enjoyed having you. And until next time, stay in alignment, live with abundance, lead with impact, and together let's create your millionaire momentum life. We'll see you in next episode. Take care.
Thank
Remember, true freedom isn't measured by income. It's about living your life in alignment. And real wealth isn't just about money. It's about having the time to enjoy what matters most. Subscribe now, and if you found this episode valuable, share it, and we'll see you next time.